because we've been talking about um, doing like all the stuff with the coronavirus and the schedule and all this crap. And so he was like, all right, here's what's happening. He's like, I'm going to make you my direct contact instead of freaking talking to a bunch of other people and like us going through the squad leaders, because he's texting us in our squad chat, and then everybody is texting the squad leaders are texting their squad, which is straight, but it seems like there's a lot of questions and everybody's like, what the hell's going on? So I'm just trying to, he said, basically, I need to clear it up for everybody. So pretty much what's happening is, can y'all still see my screen? Well, hopefully you can. If you see this is the notes, this is kind of the outline. It says VMR class. Everybody was asking about the VMR class. And the VMR class is still on March 31st. That's when it's going to start. The money is due on that day. So the thing that he said is make sure everybody has their FC dice number. Really important, when you show up to class that day, you have your FC dice number. Very important. The next thing he said was the other classes. He sent this text like right here. He literally said, all other classes are done except for hazmat 2. That's the only text he sent. And I'm like, what the crap does that mean? So he said ERG and quick decon and quick decon procedures. That will be in the SERP class, which I don't even know what the SERP class is. If somebody wants to enlighten me on what that is, then that would be awesome. Does anybody know?
I ain't got a clue.
All right. Well, okay, then let's just assume that we know what that is then. But he said the ERG and a quick decon procedures, that would be a part of the CERP class, which I believe is going to start on March 31st. So I think we're going to do the VMR and CERP, I think, at the same time, if I'm understanding this correctly. And he said he'll just knock all those out that day on the 31st. So just make sure you have your $250. Make sure you have your FC dice number. And be ready to go. So the 31st, as of right now, everybody's planning on going back. According to the college, as far as just us, because we can't say about anybody else, but according to just us for fire, everybody's going to go back on the 31st. And then from then on, as far as we know, we should be straight from then on out and continue to go back to our normal schedule. That's just what we know now. We don't know anything else. And by the way, if anybody has a question, feel free to just unmute yourself and then just hop in and ask me a question. Because I asked him a crap ton of questions. So if you have a question, let me know and I'll stop wherever I'm at. I don't want to just give some long rant. So no questions? Everybody? We all good? Okay.
Hey. All right, so question on this. What if you forgot do you talk to Chief Brown, or you got to go to the college, the Florida State College, for your FC dice?
You need to go
to the website.
Go to the website. It's super easy. I'll see if I can pull it up really quick. Show you how to do this. Can you see where I'm at?
I see the Google and stuff. I'm at work.
Okay.
I'm going to put it on mute.
All right. So you go here, and then once you go here, you click log in. Once you go to log in, you should have your username and password. That's going to get you in. If you set it up on Chrome or you did it with your iPhone, it should autofill. The same thing goes with like Samsungs and other phones. It should have autofilled for you. If not, you're going to have to forgot your username or password, click here. You're going to have to do this whole deal right there. But you should enter. Once you enter, somewhere in here, it'll have your FC dice number. I forgot where it is. Maybe it's here. Our renewal status. There it is. So that's
should be at the top corner.
Right there. So that's your FC dice number as far as I know.
All right. I got that. We still I still got to give Chief Brown the copies of the the forestry stuff, the certifications.
Also, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and show you this, guys, because this is important. This is something he said he needs by the 31st as well. So when you log into this, you go to applications in progress, all right? And then right here it says pending. So go ahead and click on pending, and right there it allows you to pay. So he says you need to go ahead and pay now, because as of right now, the state is still there. So we need to go ahead and pay this and have a printout of our receipt. You can usually have it emailed to you or whatever, but you'll just click pay now. It's $30. You go to process the payment, however you're going to do it. I don't know how this crap works, but I just did it with a credit card. You go to process payment, you go through all that stuff, and it should give you, what you like that you've done it. But he said we also need that on the 31st. So make sure you go in there. So once you log in, applications in progress, and then you go to status, click on pending, pay now. All right. So
is this from FC Dice?
That's the state registration for us to take our state test. The $30 that allows us to take our state test. And I guess your FC Dice number is in there. That's where your FC Dice is on that website, wherever that was. There it is. It's in here somewhere. I'd have to search around again to find. I think that was my FC Dice number that I found just a minute ago. But
hey, so what is he planning on doing for the ones of us that aren't taking the VMR class? Is he pretty much telling us we need to take it for those hours?
That is a good question, and that is the answer that I do not have yet. So this is why we're doing this right here. So I can write that down.
Because if I have to take it, I will do it. I just have to ask off work.
Same.
And I wasn't wanting to do that.
I gotcha.
I would say if they're doing the SERP class or the SERP lecture, that probably everybody needs to be there at least the Monday.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
The classroom portion of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What day is that?
The 31st, which is a Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Well,
So,
okay.
Yeah, 31st is a Tuesday.
All of this information is directly going against everything that the school and the government's saying right now.
I know. That's why I'm trying to. I'm just going by like what he said, and that's as far as I know. So like my whole philosophy on this, I believe that was Stearns that was talking. My whole philosophy on this thing is like, I'm just going to give you guys the information, and I could try to answer any questions that I have the answers to, instead of us all blowing up Captain Bryce. And that's kind of what he wanted me to do. So I'm just relaying the information that I have, and
coordination with the school. Then if the school is saying that all spring classes are closed indefinitely, they're all online.
Yeah.
But it also said on that memo, unless you're in a tech school, get with your instructors.
Yeah.
So
and I think that has to do with us.
So, I don't know how I'm going to do it.
I don't know. It doesn't smell right.
No, it doesn't. But that's something further on in this that I'm fixing to get to as far as our hours go and stuff like that. So just kind of hang with me here, and then I'll try to write down the rest of them when I come up with them, or when you guys come up with them, and that way I'll ask him. But he said
our school's still trying to do fucking school, and so basically our kind of point right now is, all these classes.
Yes. Okay. So let's just get back to this for now, and we'll take questions in a minute.
His phone got the water hammer.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So yes, it kind of goes against what the college is saying, but ours is a technical school, I guess is the best way that I can answer that. And then since ours is that way, and that's later on in this, he told us a place to meet on the 31st, which I believe is Station 48 in Lake City. Again, I'll get to that in a second. So I'm just going off the information he was giving me. So we're going to go back to 31st. We're going to start that VMR class. I'll ask about the guys who don't plan on taking the EMR class about the whole CERT thing and see what that is. But I think whoever said it, that you probably need to be there that first day, the 31st, I would say that's probably accurate, that you probably need to be there. So I'll write that down, and I will get some more information from him, and I'll relay that to you guys. But let me go on with this so we don't take for freaking ever on this stuff. The next part is, I said, well, if we're taking Hazmat 2, does that mean we passed Hazmat 1? And he said, yeah, we passed Hazmat 1. So I guess our whole lecture from Captain Taylor that said, hey, here's an ERG book, this is how you use it, I guess that was our Hazmat class. So congratulations, everybody, you passed Hazmat 1. So, so cool. Then as far as our hours go, that was something I was going to touch back on. I believe this class is supposed to be 360 hours. As far as our hours go, they said those will be added like the whole day. I said, will those be added like the whole day of a 10-hour day, which is 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. to get our standards with these conference calls that they kind of mentioned, like, hey, does everybody have a computer? Because we're going to have to start doing a conference call. At some point in time, we are going to do a conference call. I don't know what the platform is. I don't know if it's going to be Skype, if it's going to be Zoom, it's going to be something the college has. I don't know what it's going to be, but evidently there is going to be some sort of thing online. And if it only takes an hour or if it only takes 2 hours, he said it doesn't matter. We're going to get credit for the whole entire day. Sweet. So the whole entire 10 hours, we're going to knock that out. So it's kind of good for however many things we actually have. So if we have freaking 3 conference calls, we got 30 extra hours, which is, I see pros and cons in that because we don't learn what we need to learn for state, but at least we're knocking some of the hours out. Then conference calls will be counted as full day as soon as we get the go-ahead to go back to practical classes. He said he talked to the state fire marshals, and they say whatever days we're at, they're going to add them for the end for state test. But we have to make up those days. I know that sounds kind of confusing, but basically it's exactly what everybody thought. For all the days we're missing, we have to make each one of those up. There's no way around it. With us, there's no way around it. So we're going to have to do that. He said possibly the state might just credit us some hours. And if that's the case, he said he's still going to make sure that we know what we need to know for our state test and for our for Fire 2 to get our fire standards. But he said he highly doubts they're going to say like, okay, you guys had 130 hours. Okay, well, now you're Fire 2. You know, I doubt that's going to happen because that's kind of scary for the fire service. I talked to Alan Berg today. Actually, no. Bryson is going to try to figure out a schedule where we can have classes one day, and then he'll come in on his day off, and we can have like 10 people or 5 people or 7 people. So be it. But he's going to try to make it work with our schedules as much as we can. And I know the first thing you guys are thinking, like, that is going to be an absolute cluster truck. That probably will, because we've got 1 million people with 1 million different freaking schedules. And we understand that. A lot of people are paramedics. They're going to get mandated. But from what I hear, the chief of whatever county you work for, if you tell him what's happening, then he will like tell you, he'll tell you whatever he needs to tell you, I guess, or they won't mandate you for those days. Allenberg told me that, so Stearns probably knows a little bit more about that. So if we can do that, he said he's willing to do that just to get our hours, just to pack them in. So, and I don't believe Bryson's going to get paid for that time, but he wants to make sure that we're getting the right amount that we need to. Other than that, that's Allenberg said that. Okay, 5 is burns. So we have 2 more burns. I said, how are we going to accomplish that? He says, we'll go over that on the 31st, and possibly right after VMR week, we're going to have a burn. He said, we absolutely will get the burns in no matter what. So we have to have 3 burns to be Fire 2 certified. We will get the burns for sure. And he's going to try to schedule them as soon as possible. What he said is as soon as we get back and we can get in the swing of things, he's going to schedule that burn so we can just go ahead and get it over with and get it done with, because he said that's what we've been training for this whole entire part of Fire 2, which I don't know how the ladder parade coincides with us learning how to be in a fire and fire too, but hey, whatever. So we're gonna get those in now. State day. This kind of goes back to this same point up here on number 4, but I still got to go over it again. State day, as far as the tests go, and how we're going to do that. I said, how are we going to practice for that? If we're not in class and we're doing these conferences, how are we going to get the practical knowledge? And he said, we'll have to make up those days that we're not in class, obviously. And he said, don't worry about the state practical exam. He said, he will get us ready to go. Do not worry about it. It will work 100%. He will get us 100% squared away. And like I said, he's already talked to the fire marshals, and the fire marshals understand what's going on. So it's not going to be on a scheduled state day. Obviously, all the days are going to be pushed back. But he said, and we have to put some faith in him to know that he's going to get us there. And if you think about it like hours, the hours are going to be the same either way, minus whatever conference call hours we get. Other than that, go on the FC Dice website, pay for your application. I already told you this. Do this as soon as possible. Take a screenshot of the receipt. And then you know how Bryson is. He's really nice on the phone, which is crazy because it's totally different than what he is in class. But he did go full Bryson when he started talking about the POs and tying knots. He's like, tell these mother fathers to keep tying their freaking knots. He's like, if we show up and people don't know how to tie their knots, I'm going to freaking go ballistic. And he's like, and stay in your POs. He said, so you guys should be learning these POs. He's like, I'm not expecting you guys to spend 12 hours in them every day or 10 hours in them every day. He's like, but freaking read over those. Know those POs. He's like, those are going to be, if everybody stays on top of it, then when we actually do go back to class, then it's just going to make everything smoother. He said with the time that we have left, they don't have time to go back and teach things. But for some reason, if we're like SOL on something we really don't know.
In the first place, so what are they even saying by that?
Do what?
They never taught anything in the first place. They've been saying getting your POs this whole time, so that's like a mute point.
Yeah, I mean, I agree because the only thing that I was thinking about was the mats, like how we fold the mats and we're like, hey, and we went over that with JC like one day. And there's no way I could do that. Like right now, if you told me to do that, there's no way I could do that. But I guess he just wants us to read through them. I mean, I guess that's all he wants. And I know there's some of them that are verbal. I don't remember which ones in class were that was like a verbal one that we say all of. Like entering an IDLH, something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but the only thing I could say is just read through them. I read through mine today, just to try to go over them. And Sergi make a good point. Like we didn't get taught a lot of that crap, so the best thing I could say, trying to think from their perspective, is at least just read them, or at least go through them, so we have like a general knowledge of them. And then when they actually learn them, then maybe they'll put it into our head a little bit more. I'm sorry for talking so long, guys. I'm trying to make this quick. But
No, you're
Chapter 4 test and Chapter 19 test open today. Let's see if I have this somewhere. So I subscribed.
You guys been seeing the announcements from Chief Brown? Because I called him today, and he's saying that all the tests
Chief Brown
are suspended right now
all tests are off.
until further notice.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said to me that he was having a conference call with the school administrators and with the state of Florida, and he would get back to me whenever that was finished. So do you know if him and Bryson have been communicating? Or?
I do not. I hate to tell you that, but no, I do not. I mean, that's the first I've heard of that.
They've been
But
having a hard time talking to each
told
other
me
this
all
entire
tests
class.
after
So
chapter 20.
what's up?
I texted him and talked to him, and he said that all tests, chapter 20 and up to right now, were void or whatever. We
Postponed.
didn't have to do them.
Yeah, they're postponed because he sent out an announcement on Canvas saying something about the state.
Yeah,
if you
I'm
look
saying.
on Canvas, he's changed all the dates for the test. They're not even eligible right now.
All right. Okay, well then that's good. That's more knowledge than I had just a little while ago. So,
Well, he still don't know what he's doing, so
It's going to be an FGC clusterfuck. There's no doubt about it. It always is.
It definitely is. And the only thing that we can do, I feel like the only thing we can do is just try to get everybody as much on the same page as we can, because
Yeah.
I mean that's it. I mean I don't know what else to tell you, but except to try to get
that's all we
everybody
can
on the
do
same page.
because it's basically Bryson fighting FGC and the government, Mr. Brown going with FGC and the government, and it's gonna be something. There ain't no doubt about it.
If it comes worse to worse, what they're going to end up doing is making us just circle back through for next year's fire too.
Yeah, we're all going to be recycled into next semester, and we won't have to pay.
That's the email I've been waiting for, honestly.
It just sucks.
That would suck.
That really would.
I don't think that's going to happen. Judging by what Bryson told me today, I don't think it's going to happen, and that's something else I'm getting to kind of right now. Not exactly that, but this is the last text that I got from him. If you guys can still see my screen, it says, this is our text back and forth. He said 370 Racetrack Road, Lake City, Florida 32825, United States. Wear your school uniform and brown collar shirts. Have your FC Dice number and your VMR money. The 31st of March at 0900. Meet at this location for VMR. We'll do VMR and ERG class. And he said, thanks guys. We'll have more news as it all plays out. So that is station.
Finish our classes there.
Yeah, that I think that's what that's kind of what he's going for. So this is our conversation. If you guys can see this, this is our conversation that he's just kind of saying all this stuff. And instead of screenshotting it all, I just wanted to let you know what I know. Other than that, let's see. I don't think I have anything else. Okay, now I'm gonna just kind of hang out, and you guys ask questions, and then I'm gonna write these questions down. So then when I talk to him next, I can ask him about that. Does anybody have questions?
If there's a burn building at Lake, City, there's a classroom there. We should just finish our class.
That's the plan. I can go ahead and tell you that that's the plan, because at Station 48, that's where the burn building is.
Yeah.
So
there's no reason to even run through the college anymore because it's suspended
associated with the school.
Honestly,
at 48, there's a burn building, there's an extrication pad, there's everything, and he uses it all the time. That's where that North Florida burner was going to be.
Yeah. There's a big classroom there. I have a Station 48, so we can meet in that classroom. I don't know, because I kind of asked him and he didn't really have a good answer for me. But I was like, if we meet in that classroom and we do our class, is that going to be considered by the fire marshals to go towards our time, or is it not, because it's not like FGC approved or whatever? Like, how does that work? And he said, well, for right now, we're planning on meeting there the 31st, and hopefully I'll have a lot more information for you guys by then. So that's all I know about that.
I feel like he's just making it up as he goes along. Like, he told me all kinds of stuff whenever I got injured, and it ended up being something completely different, though. So I'm having a hard time picking up what you're putting down, to be honest with you. I know it's not you. It's just you're relaying this information from him. But I think Chief Brown's the head instructor of the whole program, so I'm kind of just waiting to see what he says.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, we're just waiting. Like, regardless of what Bryson says, we got to wait these 2 weeks and see what happens. Because this corona stuff could get worse.
It is.
That's exactly right.
Or it could blow over.
Yeah. I mean, and I hate it, dudes. I mean, trust me, I don't like to be the head of this call and not have the freaking answers for you guys. But I totally, everything you're saying, especially what you're saying, 100% makes sense. I mean, Bryson's been fighting with Brown from freaking day one. So it's been a freaking cluster truck So I really don't know what's happening. All I know is the information that I've been given, and I'm just trying to relay that to as many people as I can. So at least we can all try to be on the somewhat of the same page. And that's about it. That's pretty much all.
Doing the best you can.
So do y'all have any questions as far as like the state day goes, or like the SERP class, or the VMR stuff, other than the stuff that I just put down right here?
That's good.
What
Swivel
out of the
gas.
limited time that we do have, how much of that time is going to be spent doing PT or playing stupid games?
Done.
That's pretty
yeah.
much my only question.
I feel like if it comes down to the point where we actually do get to have class, they're not going to waste time anymore with stupid stuff. They'll
In
still
an
get on
ideal
it.
world, yeah, I would totally believe that. But given the track record and history, like how much of that time's actually going to be in training?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Really good.
We're gonna be doing burpees probably.
Yeah. Oh, and if you guys saw that text that I said about him saying that we better be ready because freaking he's gonna make us do some dumb stuff.
Yeah, exactly. If
So
that's
where-
their first thought.
Yeah, he's just gonna take us through.
We're going to get in trouble for missing 2 weeks. Coronavirus
I
is our
don't
fault.
understand where he's gonna
It
have
starts
the time.
conditioning.
If we can have like one person talk at a time, that would really be cool, guys. Just saying. So one person say something, and then everybody else just chime in afterwards.
Raise your hand and Jacob will call on you.
I can't see you. I'm trying to write this down. Trying to format this document, and it's not wanting to operate for me. So somebody said, I'm sorry, guys. I feel retarded.
You're doing good. It's not. None of this is your fault. You're just a little message boy.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It's a cool job. Don't feel bad.
Yeah. So, yeah. So how much time is going to be spent doing stupid games? I don't know. I'm kind of concerned with calling him and asking him that, but I'll do it. I'll throw my neck on the line for you guys. We'll see what happens.
Watch this. We're all get PT just by him asking that.
We're gonna get PT till Mash loses 20 pounds.
Mass, get on the salads.
Max is saying to go ahead and leave.
All right, y'all. I mean, I appreciate you.
No, you want him to lose weight for the 2 weeks we're
No
off.
more mashed potatoes.
Well, all right, yeah, that's probably a good time to call it. So if y'all don't have any more questions for me to write down, because I want to write down any questions y'all have that are legitimate questions. Question number 3 right here is going to be sketchy, but let me know, and I'll ask them, but
My
I just
question
want
is
some
real
questions.
quick. Yeah, my question is real quick. So I know he said right after the VMR class he wants to schedule the burn as soon as possible. Are we going to have any regular class days learning fire stuff before that burn? Because I know he said, like you said, he wants to see if we're conditioned enough or all that. So are we going to do regular classes before, or are we just going to go straight to the burn?
Okay.
So just ask that, if we're doing any regular class day classes before the burn day.
Okay.
I think it'd be wise for all of us to stay in shape for the next 2 weeks.
No doubt.
Basically conditioning.
Yeah, we need to be working out.
All of us need to do 200 burpees every day.
I'm doing air consumption tomorrow at the campus. Just FYI, I don't know if anybody wants to go, but I'm going.
What time?
Probably like 4:30 or something.
PM?
Yeah. Yeah, no, AM.
Well, JC's
Hey, you
making
never
sure
know,
I
man.
stay
Some
up to date on
people
my
get up
PT.
and go work.
Who knows? All right, so are we going to have any regular classes before the burn post VMR week? Anything else for anybody?
Where's the end call button?
I'll end it. I don't know where it is.
Man, he's already ready to get off and everything.
All right, so no more questions so far.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys for
pretty
tuning
good,
in
man.
and talking and bringing up some good points. I'll ask him and I'll let you know as soon as I know.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
All right, man.
Talk to y'all later. Have a good
Thanks.
night.
You too, man.